If you're watching this, is because you had shown interest in one of our program in reigniting your relationship. And so therefore, on this week, I want to share something valuable that you can use to further enhance your journey in rebuilding your relationship, if most important, relationship with you. Most men, as you are, and you are experiencing it firsthand, where you are told that you got to be strong. And so you are being strong by hiding your emotions. But emotions, as one of my friend's mom used to say, they are like a tail. No matter where you go, no matter how much you hide it, they will still come out to wiggle. Because emotions is what drives our reactions, actions. Our actions are not coming out of just an empty thing. It is the emotions, because emotion is energy. It causes us to act. So even though you are suppressing it, you are subconsciously reacting or respond to life consistent with those emotions that have not yet been addressed. So in your relationship, you end up struggling. You cannot communicate properly. You feel vulnerable. You feel dejected. And all of these are emotions that are piling up. And if are not addressed, you end up being in trouble. Often, we find a way to channel them. Most of my clients will say you find that they work a lot of hours. They drink a lot. They consume particular drugs or anything else to keep themselves afloat, away from dealing with those emotions. But the most detrimental thing, hiding emotions, is one thing, because you can hide things that you don't know what to do with them. The second thing is actually thinking that you have to do it alone. Most of my clients, when I start talking to them, they have struggled with this matter alone for quite some time. They think, as many, I've been there. So I understand it's not that you have a problem. No, it is how we were built up. When I was facing my own challenges in life, things that had impact in our marriage, but guess what? I thought I have to deal with them alone. I was not involving my wife. I kept making decisions, but those decisions that I was making, they were affecting our marriage. And as a result, it caused so much stress between us and in our relationship. Luckily, we were able to survive because I apply a formula that I share with my client all the time. And it has worked consistently if it's applied properly. So it is not the time to do it alone when you are facing a challenge, when you are in a crisis. Because we're not built as an individual. We are individual human being, but we live collectively in a society or a community. And especially when you're in a relationship, you have brought that community very close to you, close to home. Your wife, despite what she is and what she have done, yet she remains to be part of that community. But how then do you go about communicating in a community where communication is not favorable anymore? Maybe for some of you, your relationship has gone too far out. In essence, probably it's about to break apart. Or communication is almost impossible. There's more shouting match than you can go to a sports game. Here are the simple things that I do. And I tell my clients all the time. I use this framework I call 3I framework, which you start with individualize, idealize, and then you have to introduce that which you've idealized, and the last piece is iterate. And what does that mean? The words mean nothing, but the application is what is important. And what does that mean to you when you're facing or sitting where you are? The challenge is you have unique challenges in your life, in your marriage, in your relationship, that I cannot address in a short video individually based on your needs. So I'm going to give a common or general application on how you can use it and customize it to your specific issue. So first and foremost, I want to encourage you, don't do it alone, because there's a saying, a person in a frame cannot see, a person in a picture cannot see outside the frame. What that really means is, think of an athlete. As great athletes as they are, the LeBron James calibers. I'm not very much big in sports. I mean, I know and I love to watch, but I might not be able to give you all the names of the great sport athletes in this era, the Steph Currys and everybody, and many of them. When you think of them, both of their coaches who coach them are not as successful as the players themselves. That's a very fact. If you put LeBron James with his coach in a court, of course he will outperform his coach. If you put Steph Curry and Steve Kerr in the court to see who can perform best, of course Steve Curry will shoot better than Steph Kerr. So why will the coach then necessary? Those athletes, despite the fact they recognize their athletic ability and exceptional way they do things, yet they require a coach because they recognize that they cannot do it alone. It's not a do it alone kind of a thing. Life is not do it alone. The reason people have coaches is not because they are weak. It's because actually they are stronger and they need a coach to guide their path, to strengthen their ability and make them better than the best they are. Steve Kerr will see what Steph Curry could not see when he was dribbling, when he was making a shot. And so it is true about LeBron James and every other athlete around the world. The coach is there to observe and guide, not to be better. It is to guide you in a path and a direction consistent with your interest, so you can flourish in your own relationship. That's why I talk about it's not a time to go alone. Because when you're in the game, so imagine if an athlete, let's say basketball, Steph Curry takes a ball and is shooting. He might not see that while he was shooting, there were others who were much in an open position than he was. Because he had the ball and there were people who were guarding him, ready to take the ball from him. So he had to be quick in seeing, but he cannot see 180 degree. A coach will say, next time, this, and providing tips and technique from the experience that he has observed that will help Steph Curry to do the best in the court. Despite the fact that the coach cannot do the best, better than Steph Curry. So it is important for you to be able to understand this so that you can see the value of not doing it alone. And know that it is not time to even try to do it alone. And so how do you do to start where you are? Majority of the clients I have, they will say financial is an issue. Every program requires money. Of course it does. I'm not going to lie to that. I'm not going to tell you that if you're going to come in my program, it's going to be free. It's going to require money. And most people say, I don't have money. I've been there where you are. When I started my coaching business, I knew what I was talking about. I knew these things because I've lived it. I've tested it not only myself, my family, I've tested it to friends, I've tested it outside many people, and I saw results. And I went about actually do it for free so that I can test it. And I did it and the results were amazing. And I was like, yep, I got it. And I went and started doing it on my own because I didn't have that much money. And I couldn't afford to go and hire any coach to help me through the process. So I binge watched YouTube for quite some time. And I got a lot of valuable information. I tried to implement it myself. And the results, for a year, I was burning the tires. I was going nowhere. Until one day I realized, I said, you know what? I could have made a significant income to offset my expenses if I would only invested early on in my journey. So at that time, I had already burned everything I had. In fact, because I went in to do this full time, I was so excited. I'm like, who's not going to need help? Because the results are there. So I'm just going to go all in. So I spent 1 year cleaning up my saving. When I woke up and said, I need somebody to guide me, because every journey, there's a technique. What you're doing today at work as a professional, You have developed a unique way of doing what you're doing in order to be efficient. Even if you haven't, you must in order to be efficient and be unique in your ability to deliver the results expected out of you. Each one of us have those unique ways. Not only that we have a unique way, we have learned through hard work how to do things in the manner that we do. But most important, there is a simple process or fundamental that anybody who can come in can learn in order to develop their own uniqueness in the way they do things. But those fundamental on how to are necessary. In relationship, an example, there are simple fundamental things. If you do them, you will succeed in your relationship. Of course, then you develop those fundamental into your uniqueness, so they become about you. And you can go and teach somebody else how to do that, because what you have done is so unique to you, and there are people who are uniquely experienced challenges as you did that they can use your help. So with that in mind, what I did is I said, I can't afford it, but it doesn't make me better if I can't keep using. I can't afford. I kept running. I sourced so many coaches, and each one of them gave me a price tag way over $10,000. And I'm like, oh shoot, I can't afford it. I can't afford it. So one time I was sitting with my wife. I said, you know what? I think I might have to go back to work. She said, you have worked so hard, and look at the results you have been getting from people. Why would you go to work instead of continue to help people? I said, but I need to find a way to do this the right way. And I've heard so many theories, and none have gave me the ability to kind of elevate from where I am. I feel stuck, and I was getting frustrated because I was relying on her for support. It's not a weakness, because we had an agreement, and she sees me every single day. I am pushing, and I'm doing the best I can. It's not like I was sitting drinking beer, watching TV. No. If I'm watching TV, I'm watching with her for an hour or two, and then I go back to work. So she knew that I was putting work. So don't think, oh, my wife doesn't support me. No. Does she progress? Are you working hours in there, spending hours, instead of being on the phone playing games or playing video games or just watching? No. You have to, somebody got to see that you're actually doing something to it. And for me, that's what I did. And as a result of that, something unique happened. So she said, you know what? Let's see. Can we borrow? And of course, my credit was not very good. Hers was not at the best. It was better than mine. But then there's a saying that when there is a need, there's a way. When there's a need, there's a way. And I was talking to a friend, and a friend said, you know what? There are these financing programs that you can get. It's very high interest, but you can get it. So I sat there. Either I go back to work, and I was not very thrilled to do that, or I get high interest rate loan. You want to call them shack loans? Call them whatever you want to call. But they were willing to take a risk on me where credit cards and other banks couldn't. So I did it. I went and borrowed $10,000, and I paid for it. And then I went and borrowed $5,000. I paid for it. But it was within a month of paying for that amount of money, I was able to launch a successful program. Now I was not only helping one or two people here and there, I was helping a good number of people. And the results, when you hear people are saying things about their relationship, the feedback you're getting, knowing that the kids don't have to suffer, they don't have to endure the pain, and they don't have to, because you're creating an impact on your children based on the experience that you're going through, if it is an issue of marriage, a difficult relationship. They're impacted by that decision. They're impacted by that perspective. Whatever they're seeing, it's impacting their lives. You don't want that to be repeated in the future of their lives. So the best thing what we did, by that, when I started seeing those results, I was so impressed. I was so happy. So never use this excuse that it's an excuse. I did it, and I'm saying excuse because if you start looking at how can I afford to make this happen? What do I need to do? Can I borrow? Because your relationship is the most important thing. Because if you can straighten up your relationship with your partner, it's easier to straighten out other relationships. And when your relationship with your partner is broken, others are also suffering. Most of you, you will tell me, your performance at work has not been at the best because you have a broken relationship. So there's a significant cost. But I'm going to return to that place because the reason I'm talking about this, the need to not to go alone. And of course, if you're talking to your friends, you've been talking to your friends for quite some time. They haven't helped. If you're talking to somebody else, and the reason you're still in that position because they were not able to help. So you have to look for somebody with an experience that you know their work will produce results. And I know that because I have seen results. Any person that I've worked with, not that all my clients have been successful in their results. No, some have seen partial results, but the reason they saw partial results because they consumed the information only partially. They were not willing to put the work. I am not offering a magic wand. But guess what? Each and every client who have successfully finished the program and applied the principle that they applied, guess what? Most of them, actually majority of them so far as I know, they are very successful, not only in their marriage or their relationship, they are very successful as individuals today. They were broken and some of them were broke. Because what I teach is not only, it's about your relationship with yourself and those things that you want to experience in life. So I'm going to help you through this journey of how you can improve your relationship with yourself first, so you can show up your best in your relationship. And if you can show up your best and saw results that you have shown up your best in your relationship, guess what? You're going to show up your best in your dream, your career, everything else that you want to do. You are going to show up your best. That's the rule. And it works at all times. And that's why I encourage people to take that journey. So, how do you apply the rule? I want to make this video short. So, you apply it by simple process. First, you have to idealize, meaning that you have to know your pain, name the pain. And the pain is not about what she did. We're not focusing on what she did, or this is about you and you alone. So we identify the pain and what is the opposite of the pain. The experience you are feeling, what emotions is going on. Once we know the pain, we can identify the experience you're feeling. And we name that and say, okay, I'm feeling lonely, heartbroken, confused, frustrated. I feel like I'm unworthy. All of these things are things that you're feeling. That's the pain. Then what is the opposite? I want to be worthy. I want to be happy. I want to be recognized, loved. And therefore, we have identified an ideal situation for you. Once you have identified that ideal situation, now you have to personalize it. You gotta be. We always quickly to say, oh, she did this. She have to do this. She have to do that. One guy said, I've told my wife, if she cannot stop talking to so-and-so, that relationship is over. I said, stop having conditions and command. Most of you are not very pleased with this God who gives people command. Say, why is he commanding people? We're not pleased with leaders, presidents, and other leaders who just tell you, do this, do. No. It's about you. So when we realize an ideal, we have to personalize it. You see, my program is not about your wife. It's about you. Because if you can change, the rest will change. She have no choice in the matter. I've seen it over and over. People say, Alpha, that's ridiculous. I said, I've seen it over and over happening. So I'm not teaching something. I'm not trying to pass something to you that I have nothing about. I personally experience it every single day. One time I wanted to go to this trip for me, just me. And I didn't know how to ask my wife. I used the same principle I'm teaching you. And out of nowhere, she came and said, I think you should go at this place. It's good. It's going to be good for you. But if I had to ask her, she wondered, why you want to do it by yourself without me? There'll be so many questions and suspiciousness. And there was nothing nefarious that was happening. It's just you want that moment. But she granted me without me asking. And this is just one of the things. There are so many things that I experience every single day that are of that nature. So what I'm saying, when you idealize something, you can now personalize it, which is introduce. You make it personal. You become the person you want another person to be. Don't ask her to be something that you're not willing to be. And in this process, you become the thing you want to be. Because it's not her who gives you happiness. It is happiness comes from you. She complements it. And once you understand that and apply that process and iterate is to keep repeating that pattern, eventually transformation happens. Once you're transformed, she will see it. She will come crawling, crying, and just begging for more of you. But the choice is yours. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you will continue to get what you're getting. And the cost continue to amount. You think it's just because, oh, she's nothing, it doesn't matter to me. It matters, that's why you're talking about it. It matters, that's why you're watching this video. It matters, that's why your life is miserable. It matters. It matters, my friend. And if she is not worthy to be with you, the next person who comes in your life, if you haven't changed, you will experience. That's why people go to the first marriage, divorce, the second divorce, the third divorce, until somehow, somewhere, they get it and then they change, and therefore they maintain the relationship. If you're not changing, my brother, you will continue to experience life the way you have. And with that, I want to encourage you to apply the 3I framework. You can do it on your own because you may be stubborn. I got to do it my own. I can do it. I did it for a year, eventually surrender. I should have paid that money a year ago, a year before, and I would have already started my career influencing way more people than I did the year that I didn't have a coaching. To this day, I still pay coaches, not to coach me how to train, to train people, but to coach me with new ways of doing so. There are so many techniques of doing it, delivering messages in the most effective way. I never used to be in a camera. I had to hire a coach to coach me how to shoot video, how to be confident. I was confident, but I always there was a sabotaging system that in my mind. And then my coach said, you know what? I see what's happening to you, Alpha. And they showed me, and I recognized it because I was in the picture. I couldn't see outside the frame. So even with what I'm teaching you and everything else, I still often, we have a mastermind group of a particular group that I always participate because I want to learn new ways of doing things that I can be able to do it better to help you advance much faster than before. I have to stay on it. And it costs me money to do that. But it's not a cost anymore. It's an investment. Because the return I'm having from it is significant. And for you, I tell you the same way. This is an investment in your life. Because it is out of this investment, you are gaining so much. And it continues to pay dividend to you. Because it's a knowledge you've learned, skills you've developed, they continue to grow. And if you do it so well, you can go and become your own coach as well. You can coach others, your colleagues, your friends, people in your circles who are experiencing the same thing you experience. And you can go out and teach others because you have taken what I shared with you, customize it to your personal approach. And there are hundreds of people who are experiencing the pain in the way you have. And you can be uniquely situated to help them because you have experienced. You're not teaching based on what I shared with you. You're teaching them based on what you applied in your life and the results you received. So it becomes unique to you and to them that you share with. And you change your life both financially, relationship-wise, spiritually, and you grow to become better as a person. I hope, my friend, you take action. And if you feel like you can take actions, I'm going to add a link into this video or this communication so you can be able to benefit further than what you are currently. Have a good week, my friend.